Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the fish room. So today we're going to talk about how to deal with a power outage. The reason I want to talk about this now is because it's extremely relevant. Today it is, okay, so I'm in Texas and it doesn't typically get that cold. Today it's in the 20s. This weekend it's supposed to be like 3 degrees is the low. And so in Texas, we don't really know how to drive that well, and so all the schools got canceled in the area, and so I actually didn't go to work, and I think we had like a 1/16 of an inch of ice on the roads. So bad, not to make light of it, but there was a 70-car pileup on one of the highways this morning. I assume it's because of black ice they didn't see, but whatever. I figured this is a really relevant time to talk about it. And also, for those of you guys that didn't hear, about a week ago, my new fish room that I built up at the print shop, the people that have the building behind us had to do a bunch of electrical work, so they had to shut off the power, but we were on the same transformer as them, and come to find out it was going to be for 3 days, and I had literally just bought all this fish and just put up there in the fish room like 4 days before that. So I had to bust out my generator here, take it there, get everything set up. And so I realized way more importance of pre-planning, so that's kind of one of the things I want to talk to you about now. And also on that same note, because it's going to be so cold, I won't be doing any shipping this coming Monday and Tuesday. It'll be the following Monday and Tuesday, which is like the 22nd or 23rd or something like that. No use shipping the fish in this cold weather, because most of them are probably going to die because it's just getting way too cold. All right, so dealing with power outages. So what are the two main things that you need to worry about? The first thing is the temperature of the tank. And that's one of the more harder things that there is to deal with. The second thing is getting air to the tank. Now this one is a kind of a controversial type thing to talk about, because people don't fully understand it. But for instance, to keep air to your tank, a lot of that has to do with as those air bubbles are hitting the water surface, it's causing the water to move around, and that's how the oxygen is given into the water. So when you don't have any movement in the water, then you're not having that transfer of oxygen. So there's different ways that you can handle that, and a lot of it has to do with how populated your tanks are. So if you have a tank that has way too many fish in it, you need to be able to get air to that tank as soon as possible. But the majority of my tanks, I don't have them really heavily stocked, so my tanks can probably go at least 24 hours, 48 hours maybe, with no air to them whatsoever, and not really have any problems at all. So you got to kind of make that determination whenever you're dealing with that problem. And then the solution is going to have a lot to do with how many tanks that you have. You know, if you have 5 or less tanks, there's some things that you can do. One of the things that you can do is, this is a USB pump. It just simply works off of a USB port. And so obviously you got to have something to plug this into, and so it's really good to have these battery packs around and always have them fully charged. You can get these things in all sorts of different sizes, but I would assume even this kind of small one right here, this pump would probably run a couple of days on this battery pack. And again, it's just a simple pump that has an air on it, so you just put a stone on the end of it and then just hang it above your tank and then just let it run, and that way it keeps your tank bubbling. So if you have 5 tanks, you could have 5 of these, and that would get you by with that problem. But if you have a fish room and you have a bunch of tanks, you got a totally different problem. You can't, there's no way you can do this. You would have to have too many battery packs, too many of these, and it would just be way too difficult. So then, also on this, if you're interested in these, I'll link this down below. They carry them on Aquarium Co-op, but you can also get them on Amazon. And if you want something a little bit more powerful than this, they also have some ones that are USB powered that are actually pumps. So if you're going to get the pump, a good idea is to take that pump, and when you put it in your tank, you kind of want to have it where it's shooting upwards. That way it's causing surface agitation. That way it's, you know, getting a lot more oxygen in the tank by agitating the top of that water. So I'll link that pump down below also if that's something that you would want to do instead. Okay, so if you're dealing with a fish room, you've got a whole other different problem. But the other problem that you have, even if you have 1 or 2 tanks, is dealing with the temperature issue. And this right here is not going to help you with your temperature issues. Now granted, a big body of water in a tank is going to take a while to actually go down. And so if you're keeping typical tropical fish, you know, your guppies, platies, swordtails and stuff like that, when the water is going to gradually drop in temperature, and that water can get down to probably about 60 degrees, and your fish are going to be fine, but that's only for a short amount of time. You don't want them sitting in that low temperature for multiple days because it is going to catch up with them. But again, you know, 24 hours or so of that lowering temperature is going to be fine. As when the temperature or the electricity comes back on, that temperature will rise back up again, and you're not going to really have any type of problems. Okay, so then let's tackle the 2 problems that we have. Dealing with getting the tanks heated back up, or if you have a fish room and you have a bunch of different tanks, the really only other choice that you have at that point is running some type of generator. There's tons of different generators out there. There's ones that are, you know, that are affordable, that are around $100 or so, and then there's ones, you know, that go up to thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And so you kind of got to make the determination of which one that you want to get. The good thing about the ones that you find around the $200 price range is those are the ones that'll actually have a big enough tank on them so that you can run them for a while. The one that I have is one that comes from Harbor Freight. Actually, they don't have this one anymore. They have one that's a little bit bigger. Mine is a 4,000 watt. And the reason that I got that one is because I know that my heater is a 1,500 watt heater, and so therefore that would leave enough wattage to be able to run a pump. Or if I was actually to set up in my house, I could take the fish room and heat it, and I could run some lights on it, and then if we wanted to come out here and camp out, we could set a TV up here also and be able to watch TV. Well, unless you're trying to watch Netflix, you're not going to have any internet, so then you would have to try to run some power to your router to get internet. But that's a whole nother can of worms. But that's the reason that I chose that generator. And then since I've had to use that generator lately, I've learned that that generator, when I fill it completely up with gas, which is a little over 3 gallons, and I'm running a 1,500 watt heater and I'm running a 45 watt pump, those are the only 2 things that I was running on it, that thing will run for about 10 to 11 hours on a full tank of gas. So I was able to leave it at night and come home and then get up the next morning and go back out there again and put to put gas back in it to get it back going again and get it running again. And so a generator is just something that's just almost essential, even if you have just a couple of tanks, because if you do have that power outage and you start having that temperature drop, it doesn't matter if you're getting air to the tanks. If it's going to start getting colder and colder and colder, when you start dropping below 60 degrees, you're going to start having fish die off. It's unavoidable. So you need some way to be able to deal with that. And again, a generator would be a great choice for you to have. And it's also, a generator can be used for so many other different things. When you know, a friend that runs out that has their electricity go off, you can help them out. Papa Shrimp, part of his house burned, and I was able to loan him my generator to keep his tanks that he had currently going. And so a generator is just a fantastic thing to have to be able to get you out of a lot of these problems. But the main thing that you need to do over all these things is you need to have a plan in place, because whenever things happen in an emergency situation, we tend to panic and we don't really know exactly what we're doing. But if you plan ahead and you know exactly what you're going to do, it's going to make things a lot easier. So in a sense, I was glad that this happened up at my other fish room because it allowed me to know what to do and what not to do. So first of all, whenever you have a generator, it has to be run outside because it's an engine and it's producing fumes. And so you need to you need to have a place that you can put that generator. The next thing you're going to need is that generator is loud, so people are going to hear it running. And generators are typically worth a decent amount of money, so people are going to want to steal them. So wherever you have your generator at, you need to have a plan on somehow how you're going to protect it. What I actually did is I had mine out in the back, and so I had trees back there, so I actually took a big chain and I chained the entire thing to the tree. That way there's no way anyone could have got it unless they've got a blowtorch out there and cut through the chain, and that obviously wouldn't have been worth their time and it would have taken them forever to get through it. And the other thing is whenever you're running a generator, you're going to need to have extension cords. So you need to know exactly where your extension cords are so you can quickly get those out there and get them set up, and you're not panicking, but you're getting everything done that you know that needs to be done. So that is Jason's 2 cents on what to do in power outages. If you guys have any other suggestions that you do, would love to hear from you guys. Be sure and leave it down below. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.